What's up, guys? Welcome to another video on our CSS course. Today we're going to be talking about CSS resets, what they are, and why they're super important. So, as Google says here, a CSS reset is a list of rules that reset all of the browser defaults, okay? And that's basically all you have to know. So that means that by default, each browser, Chrome, Mozilla, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Opera, any browser you can think of, they all have default stylings that are already set up, and you have to basically write some code to get rid of them so that you can make a web page or a design how it's supposed to look. So I'll demonstrate that here. Let me go ahead and pull my CSS course code back up. Okay. So I'm just going to do a file for this one. I'm going to make this 4-CSS resets.html. And get some boilerplate code here. We'll name our document CSS resets. Okay. And I'm going to launch this live so we can watch it update. And I'm going to go ahead and add some HTML here so that you can see what I mean when I say by default browser styling. So I'm going to put an H1, say my heading, and I'll put a paragraph with some placeholder text, and then I'll put a link, an anchor tag link. Say this is a link, and then I'll put some list items like we're making a navigation. Say link 1, and I'll copy this down. Link 2 and link 3. Okay, so as you can see here, we'll make the page big. All of this stuff has like default spacing in between it. What's this called? Margins and padding. Okay, so margin and padding are responsible for spacing elements out. So this space here, all this space. That's default margin and padding that is decided by Google Chrome's default CSS settings. Same thing with our link, our anchor tag link. Links by default are blue and they have underline. And then our list items by default, our unordered list items, have these bullet points, which we wouldn't want either because usually wouldn't make that into like a navigation bar. So these are the default styles that you want to get rid of when you're starting a new project so that you can customize the page to look like the design that you're trying to make, okay? As a front-end developer, basically. So to do that, to get rid of those, there's a bunch of different resets out there. You can search CSS resets on Google, and there's a bunch of people that have them posted, code that you can just copy and paste. But the most basic reset that you can do, and the simplest one, is just getting rid of the margin, the padding, and changing a property called box sizing. So your typical reset would look like this. So I'm going to do shift asterisk. That means that asterisk is a selector for select all elements on the page. And I'm going to say margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box. Okay. And we saved, and all of that stuff disappeared. So 0 margin padding. So in other words, hey, I don't want your default settings for margin and padding in between my elements. And then box sizing, border box. What that does is CSS has this weird quirk where if you have a bunch of paddings and margins on multiple elements throughout the page, it'll like pretty much add them. It'll add like extra padding and margin sometimes, just through like a CSS quirk, and you just don't want to deal with that stuff. I'm not going to get too into it, but just know that you want your box sizing to always be border box so that you don't have like random paddings in areas you're not supposed to. Okay. Another thing you can do, so like what I used to do is I would have a reset that would I have like GitHub, I have a file saved, a boilerplate with the resets that I like, because some other typical ones that I do is I'll do so all my anchor tags, I don't want any text decoration, so I'll put none. See how those underlines disappear? That gets rid of the underline. And then I'll have my default color for my links black instead of blue. So I'll just do that. And then another common thing that I'll do before I start my page is I'll just do my LIs. All my list items for whatever navigation I'm going to make, I'm going to put list style type or list style none, so that there's never any bullet points. You couldn't see the bullet points because I got rid of margin and padding, and everything went straight to the edge of the page. But yeah, so that's what a CSS reset is. It just resets all of the default styles on a page. And this is the first step that you'll do whenever you make a new project, is you're going to reset the CSS for when you build your front end. And like I was telling you, you can literally Google CSS resets. And like some of these are kind of overkill in my opinion, but if you wanted to like copy and paste this guy's code, you could. This is a small one. There's some that are several lines long of just all kinds of resets that, in my opinion, is overkill. You don't need to do like every little thing, but yeah, guys. Over time, as I said, as you develop more stuff, you'll have your own little reset file that you can save to GitHub for the stuff that you specifically like to do. These are just more resets, and then you can just always download that file when you're ready to start a new project, and everything's already ready to go. So that's going to be all for the video today. Thank you so much for watching.